Friends, our story opens with a fisherman named Syracuse, though everyone in town casually calls him Circus. One ordinary day, while casting his net into the sea, he pulls up something completely unexpected, a young woman caught in the mesh. Circus is stunned to see her. To his amazement, the woman is still alive, though she has clearly swallowed too much seawater. Her breathing is weak, her lungs struggling. Acting quickly, Circus does everything he can to revive her. At last, she gasps back to life. When she opens her eyes, he gently asks her name and where she's from, but the young woman softly replies, "I don't remember anything." Seeing that her condition isn't good, Circus suggests taking her to the hospital. She refuses, and when he insists, she even tries to jump back into the water. Alarmed, Circus realizes she doesn't want to be seen by anyone, so instead of forcing her, he brings her somewhere safe, his late mother's old house, a lonely cottage that has been empty ever since she passed away. There were no neighbors nearby, so it felt private enough for the mysterious girl. Circus shares his own lunch with her, then heads off to see his daughter, Annie. But since he's running late, his ex-wife, Maura, isn't pleased. She's short-tempered, and we can sense this tension is part of why their marriage ended. We also learn about Annie, Circus's daughter. Sadly, Annie is battling kidney failure. She needs a transplant, but no donor has been found yet. Until then, she has to undergo dialysis regularly. That day, because Circus arrived late, the hospital staff almost refused to perform Annie's dialysis, but eventually they agreed. While the machine is running, Annie asks her father to tell her a story. Circus begins telling his own version of what happened, saying a fisherman once found a beautiful woman trapped in his net. Annie interrupts and asks, "Was that woman Sulky?" Sulky, as Annie explains, is a character from her favorite storybook. In the legend, if Sulky buries her magical coat beneath the earth, she can remain in the human world for 7 years. Annie loves the idea and listens closely, but when Circus doesn't finish the story, she feels disappointed. Later, Annie is given a motorized wheelchair by the hospital staff. She beams with joy, and Circus takes her home. Maura, however, continues treating him coldly. We also notice that she often drinks. The next day, Circus returns to check on the mysterious girl. They talk briefly, and soon after, he goes out fishing again. The girl insists on joining him. At first, he refuses, warning her there will be other fishermen around. But she insists and eventually comes along. While out at sea, Circus asks her name again. She smiles and says, "You can call me Ondine." The truth is, Ondine remembers her past, but pretends otherwise. Then something remarkable happens. As Ondine sings in a soft, haunting voice, an unusual number of large fish swim straight into Circus's net. His luck at sea completely changes. Shocked but thrilled, Circus invites her to accompany him each time, even joking about sharing a percentage of the catch. Ondine doesn't want to meet anyone else, but when Circus tells her, "At least meet me," she gently responds, "I enjoy being with you." That answer fills Circus with joy. He even leaves town to buy clothes for her. Unsure of her size, he buys outfits based on the shopkeeper's measurements and sneaks out some personal garments as well. Later, he visits Annie and continues his unfinished tale, saying the woman from the sea had magical powers. Her song could summon fish from the depths. Annie, fascinated, adds her own imagination, saying sea people must talk to one another beneath the waves. Afterwards, Circus returns home and gives the new clothes to Ondine. When he asks how long she plans on staying, she replies, "That depends on how long you'll let me." Touched, Circus promises she can stay for as long as she wants, even a lifetime. Ondine is moved by his words. Meanwhile, Annie takes her father's story very seriously. Curious to know more, she heads to the library to research the myth. At the same time, Circus confesses in church about stealing the clothes and about Ondine herself. He also admits that he once struggled with alcohol, though he has been sober for 2 years. The priest finds the tale odd, but encourages Circus to keep sharing it. One day, Annie visits Circus's cottage and finally meets Ondine. She had suspected her father was hiding something. Innocently, she asks Ondine, "Can you heal me with your magic? I know you must have a coat. If you bury it, you'll be able to stay here 7 more years." Ondine is baffled, unsure what Annie is talking about. But Annie is so talkative, she hardly gives her a chance to answer. Meanwhile, Circus also investigates the legend at the library, still wondering if Ondine might truly be from another world. At school, Annie's classmates react poorly to her new wheelchair. Some tease her, and one cruelly pushes it into the water. But Annie, wise beyond her years, stays calm and says nothing. Around this time, a mysterious stranger arrives in town, quietly searching for Ondine. The next day, Circus again takes Ondine fishing. This time, she learns how to handle the boat herself, and the two share moments of laughter and warmth. When she sings again, the net fills with more fish than ever before, including types that usually never appear. But suddenly, coast guards approach to inspect the boat. Circus quickly hides Ondine. When they see the unbelievable catch, they question him. Searching further, they discover Ondine hiding below deck. They demand answers, but Circus calmly replies, "Is it a crime to have a woman on board?" With no response to that, the guards eventually leave. Still, Circus worries that news of Ondine will spread across their small town, where gossip travels fast. He warns her that soon everyone will know about her, so she doesn't have to hide anymore. Ondine then appears publicly, though she feels awkward under everyone's gaze. She had always thought of herself as plain, but Circus reassures her, calling her beautiful. Later, as they walk together through town, they run into Annie. Ondine then visits a shop to buy clothes that fit her properly. Dressed elegantly, she looks radiant. Yet Annie, ever curious, still believes people from Ondine's world must wear even finer garments. Annie truly believed that Ondine was a mysterious being from the sea. One afternoon, when the two of them were together, Ondine encouraged Annie to swim. The experience filled Annie with happiness and excitement. Not long after, Ondine pulled something from the water with her fishing net. Annie became convinced that what she saw was Ondine's magical coat. She suggested to Ondine that they should hide it underground, saying, "If we bury this, you can remain here for 7 years." Ondine agreed and buried it. Curious, Annie then asked Ondine about her husband. This is when we learn that the unfamiliar man they had noticed earlier was, in fact, Ondine's husband. Later, during a small community celebration in the town, Ondine's husband also showed up. Wanting to witness Ondine's hidden abilities, Annie bravely jumped into the water. Without hesitation, Ondine dove in after her and rescued her. It was at this moment that Ondine's husband spotted her as well. When Syracuse, often called Circus, brought Annie back home, Mora grew furious with him. She believed that Syracuse was so caught up with Ondine that he was neglecting Annie. That evening, Ondine asked Syracuse why everyone called him Circus if his real name was Syracuse. He explained that he once worked in a circus, but later left that life behind, along with his heavy drinking. Syracuse opened up further, sharing that one night both he and Mora were extremely drunk, while Annie lay unconscious on the floor. That painful memory pushed him to give up alcohol completely so he could take proper care of Annie. Since he was just a fisherman at the time, he couldn't gain custody of her. The two grew closer and emotional during this conversation. Syracuse later even confided in the local priest about his connection with Ondine. Meanwhile, Ondine's husband appeared, searching for her. Syracuse refused to give away any information, which forced the man to come directly to the house. Frightened, Ondine escaped through the back door. Syracuse went after her, and during their talk, Ondine expressed her deepest wish, that she could heal Annie's illness. Around the same time, Mora, her husband, and Annie were traveling in a car. Because Mora's husband had been drinking, they ended up in a tragic accident. He lost his life, while Mora and Annie were rushed to the hospital. Syracuse and Ondine hurried there as well. By a twist of fate, Mora's late husband's kidney turned out to be a match for Annie. This allowed Annie to receive the transplant she desperately needed, fulfilling Ondine's wish. The following day, Mora was overcome with guilt and took responsibility for the accident. She asked Syracuse to take full care of Annie, but insisted that he let go of Ondine. Heartbroken, Syracuse obeyed and left Ondine at the same spot by the sea where he had first met her. The next morning, seeing Syracuse in despair, the priest advised him to bring Ondine back. Syracuse set out to find her again. During this reunion, Ondine revealed her past. She had been trafficked in Romania, forced to help a criminal who dealt drugs. One night, when the authorities cornered them, her husband ordered her to swim away with the contraband. That's how she accidentally drifted into Syracuse's life. When Syracuse and Ondine returned home, one of the men tied to her husband's criminal world appeared, demanding the drugs. Ondine led him to the spot where she and Annie had buried the net. But the package was gone because Annie had secretly hidden it elsewhere, hoping Ondine would stay in their world. Eventually, Ondine recovered the hidden package and handed it over to the gangster. In a final act of courage, she pushed her abusive husband into the water, ending his control over her forever. Since Ondine was from another country, authorities arranged for her to be sent back. But Syracuse chose a different path. He married Ondine, giving her the chance to remain by his side. And with that, their story comes to a close.